Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Next Door, the place where Heartland isn't just a show. It's a feeling, a family, and a story that stays with us long after the credits roll. Today, we're stepping into a moment Heartland fans have waited for, hoped for, and honestly never stopped believing in. Ty Borden's return in Heartland Season 20, Episode 1, isn't just a plot twist. It's not a simple surprise cameo or a shock designed for headlines. This is an emotional earthquake, one that reshapes everything we thought we had finally learned to live without. Before we dive in, take a quick second to like this video, subscribe to Nextdoor, and turn on the notification bell. This channel is dedicated to deep Heartland storytelling, emotional character journeys, and honest fan conversations. And if Heartland has ever felt like home to you, then this episode and this moment is going to hit you right in the heart. Because Ty's return isn't really about coming back. It's about love that refused to die, grief that never truly faded, and a family that has been living with an empty chair at the table for far too long. So let's slow down, breathe this in, and take this journey together, because Ty Borden's return feels less like a shock and more like destiny finally keeping its promise. To understand why Ty's return matters this much, we have to remember who Ty Borden truly was to Heartland. When Ty first arrived at the ranch, he wasn't a hero. And he certainly wasn't perfect. He was guarded, angry, and unsure of where he belonged in the world. But Heartland didn't just give Ty a roof over his head. It gave him purpose. Through Amy, through Jack, and through the life he built on that ranch, Ty slowly became someone dependable, compassionate, and quietly strong. His love story with Amy wasn't flashy or easy. It was built on patience, trust, shared pain, and years of growing together. And that's exactly what made it real. Ty became a veterinarian not just because he loved animals, but because healing others helped him heal himself. When he became a husband and later a father, he wasn't just stepping into roles. He was anchoring the Heartland family. So when Ty was gone, the loss wasn't only emotional, it was structural. Amy didn't just lose her husband, she lost her emotional safe place. Lindy didn't just lose a father, she lost the chance to know him as a constant presence. Jack lost someone he had watched grow from a troubled kid into a man worthy of respect. Even the ranch itself felt different. Quieter, heavier, like something essential had been removed. Heartland continued, yes, but it carried grief in its bones. Every mention of Ty, every pause, every memory served as a reminder that some absences don't fade with time. They settle in, they change everything. That's why Season 20, Episode 1 does something incredibly important. It respects the grief that came before the return. The episode doesn't rush us into joy or shock. Instead, it opens with a sense of transition. Life is moving forward at the ranch, but something unfinished lingers in the air. Amy is capable, grounded, and strong, but there's an emotional distance she carries, like part of her heart has been locked away for years. The ranch feels familiar, yet incomplete. Conversations feel heavier, loaded with meaning, as if everyone senses change coming but doesn't quite know what it is yet. The storytelling is subtle and powerful. The camera lingers on empty spaces. Places Ty once stood. His presence is felt even when he's not there. Heartland isn't telling us Ty is coming back, it's reminding us why his absence mattered so deeply in the first place. So, when the episode begins hinting that something extraordinary is about to happen, it doesn't feel unbelievable, it feels earned. It feels like the story has been guiding us here for years, allowing the pain to exist so the healing can finally feel real. Ty's return isn't a reset, it's a continuation of a story that never truly ended. Amy's reaction to seeing Ty again is one of the most emotionally honest moments Heartland has ever delivered. There's no dramatic rush, no immediate embrace, no perfect words. Instead, there's silence, shock, and a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding for years. This is a woman who learned how to live with loss, who carried grief quietly while raising a child, running a ranch, and holding her family together. She didn't move forward because she forgot Ty. She moved forward because she had to survive. And when she sees him, everything she buried comes rushing back. Love that never disappeared, pain that never fully healed, anger she never allowed herself to feel, and fear that this moment might not be real. Her strength wavers, not because she's weak, but because loving Ty has always meant risking everything. Amy isn't just seeing her husband again, she's confronting the version of herself that existed before loss changed her forever. This moment reminds us that healing doesn't mean closure. Sometimes, healing means learning how to live when the past suddenly becomes present again. Lindy's reaction may be the quietest part of the episode, but it's also one of the most powerful. Lindy doesn't carry years of grief the way the adults do. She carries curiosity, instinct, and an unspoken longing she doesn't yet have words for. She's grown up hearing stories about her father, seeing him in photos, and feeling his absence in ways she can't fully explain. When Ty kneels in front of her, unsure of his place, the weight of everything he missed hangs heavy in the air. But Lindy doesn't judge him. She simply feels the connection. There's hesitation, then recognition, not because she remembers him, but because something about him feels right. That's what makes the moment so heartbreaking and so beautiful at the same time. Ty isn't just returning to Amy's life. He's stepping into a role he never got the chance to live fully. Lindy's acceptance doesn't erase the lost years, but it opens the door to something new. And in that moment, Heartland reminds us that love doesn't need explanations. And family doesn't always follow a timeline. Sometimes the heart knows before the mind ever does. Jack Bartlett's reaction to Ty's return is quietly powerful and deeply grounded. Jack has lived long enough to understand that life rarely follows the rules we expect it to. When he sees Ty again, there's no outburst, no anger, no demand for answers. There's just one of those long, meaningful pauses Jack is known for, followed by a look that carries years of memory, pride, loss, and relief all at once. Jack watched Ty grow from a lost teenager into a man who earned his place at Heartland, not because he was perfect, but because he cared deeply and tried every single day to be better. In his quiet exchange with Ty, Jack doesn't focus on where he's been or why he was gone. What matters to Jack is that Ty is standing there now. He reminds him that Heartland isn't just a place. It's a promise, a commitment, and a family that doesn't disappear just because time has passed. And in those words, Jack offers forgiveness without ever needing to say the word. In Jack's eyes, Ty never truly stopped belonging. And in that quiet understanding, this moment reinforces one of Heartland's most powerful themes. Home is not defined by absence or mistakes, but by the willingness to return and the courage to stay. Lou Fleming's reaction to Ty's return is layered, conflicted, and painfully honest. Of course she's relieved. How could she not be? Ty is alive, standing right in front of them, and the impossible has become real. But Lou's love for Amy and Lindy makes her cautious, guarded, and openly emotional in a way others might avoid. Lou watched her sister break in ways the world never saw. She saw Amy hold herself together for Lindy when she was barely surviving inside. And because of that, Lou isn't willing to immediately celebrate without asking the questions no one else wants to ask. Her frustration isn't about Ty coming back. It's about fear. Fear that his return could reopen wounds Amy worked so hard just to survive. Lou wants answers. Why did he stay away? What changed? And most importantly, is this return real or just another painful chapter waiting to happen? Yet beneath her anger lives something quieter and far more vulnerable: hope. Fragile, careful hope that maybe, this time, Amy doesn't have to be strong alone. Lou's reaction mirrors the audience's internal conflict, wanting desperately to believe in happiness again, while being terrified of losing it all over again. Her honesty doesn't weaken the moment, it grounds it in reality. Tim Fleming, as always, tries to hide his emotions behind sarcasm and humor. On the surface, he acts unfazed by Ty's return, cracking jokes and brushing it off like just another unexpected twist in life. But it doesn't take long for the cracks to show. Tim has always been deeply emotional, even if he's struggled to express it in healthy ways. He saw firsthand how Ty's absence shattered Amy's world. He watched Lindy grow up without her father, and he carried the guilt of being unable to fix any of it. In a quiet moment between Tim and Ty, the tough exterior fades. Tim doesn't yell, he doesn't accuse. Instead, he admits how painful it was to watch Amy suffer, and how helpless it made him feel. His words aren't polished or rehearsed. They're raw, imperfect, and deeply honest. This moment reminds us that Tim's love for his family has always been fierce, even when his actions didn't always show it. Ty's return doesn't erase the past, but it gives Tim something he hasn't felt in a very long time: relief. Georgie's response to Ty's return reflects just how much she has grown. Once impulsive and reactive, she now approaches the moment with thoughtfulness and empathy. She understands that life doesn't follow neat rules and that people don't always get the timing right. Georgie remembers Ty not only as Amy's husband, but as someone who was part of her own life and family. His absence affected her too, but instead of letting that pain turn into resentment, she meets his return with openness. She doesn't demand explanations or emotional closure. Instead, she offers something quieter but just as meaningful: acceptance. Georgie understands that this moment isn't really about Ty. It's about Amy and Lindy finding their footing again. Her maturity allows her to step back and give others the space they need to process their emotions. In doing so, Georgie becomes a bridge between the grief of the past and the hope of the future. Her presence reminds us that growth doesn't erase pain, it transforms it into understanding. The private conversation between Ty and Amy is the emotional core of Heartland Season 20, Episode 1, and it unfolds with quiet intensity rather than dramatic spectacle. There are long pauses where neither knows how to begin, moments where words fail under the weight of years of love and loss. Ty speaks first, his voice filled with vulnerability as he apologizes, not just for leaving, but for the pain Amy endured while he was gone. He acknowledges the milestones he missed, the years he can never reclaim, and the burden Amy carried alone while holding everything together. Amy listens, every emotion visible in the way she breathes. She talks about survival, about learning how to keep moving when grief threatened to swallow her whole. She admits that part of her never stopped loving Ty, while another part learned how to live without him because she had no choice. Amy confesses her fear, not of the past, but of the future. She's afraid to hope again, afraid to believe in something that once broke her completely. Their conversation doesn't offer instant forgiveness or easy answers. Instead, it offers truth. They speak about love that never disappeared, pain that still lingers, and the terrifying possibility of starting again. When they finally hold each other, it isn't triumphant. It's fragile, emotional, and deeply human. Two people acknowledging that love can survive even the deepest loss, but rebuilding takes courage. The family dinner scene is where Heartland quietly begins to feel whole again. Everyone gathers around the table, not to celebrate, but simply to be together. The atmosphere is cautious yet warm, filled with shared glances, small smiles, and silences that say more than words ever could. Ty doesn't take over the space or demand attention. Instead, he slips back into the rhythm of the family as if the chair had been waiting for him all along. Jack watches from across the table. Lou remains observant. Amy sits close to Ty, still processing everything. And Lindy laughs freely, unaware of how significant this moment truly is. This dinner isn't about pretending everything is fixed. It's about choosing togetherness despite uncertainty, about allowing healing to unfold slowly without forcing closure. The space that once symbolized loss is now filled, not because the pain is gone, but because the family is willing to try again. In this simple moment, Heartland reminds us that healing often happens quietly, in shared meals, familiar voices, and the comfort of presence. Ty Borden's return in Heartland Season 20, Episode 1 is more than just a storyline. It's a reminder of why this show has stayed with us for so many years. It's about love that endures, family that forgives, and the courage to open your heart again, even after it's been broken. Now I want to hear from you. What did Ty's return mean to you personally? Did it heal old wounds or did it raise new questions? And where do you think Ty and Amy's journey goes from here? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Next Door for more Heartland breakdowns, emotional storytelling, and deep character analysis.